Hello, everyone. Welcome to another BDPA Tech and Career Talk. I am your Tech and Career Talk leader, Devin Jenkins. I serve as a U.S. and Canada commercial IT business partner for GE Healthcare. And I'm the founder, CEO of Share the Vibes LLC. We connect people with music and technology. I currently reside in Charlotte, North Carolina, but joining you from Milwaukee, Wisconsin today. So we usually have my Milwaukee friends on in the call here. So if you are on today, I'm in your neighborhood. So hopefully I can see you before I get up out of here this weekend. But thank you all for joining. We're glad to have our partners over at Vanguard Consulting Group, LLC, with us again for another amazing collaborative tech and career talks. I always look forward to these. Brings in a different audience, a different perspective with different topics. So excited for today's conversation. Before we jump in, I always like to give a little bit of context on BDPA, who we are, what the organization is all about. I mean, what these tech and career talks even are. Maybe you just saw this and decided to click it, but you don't really know what you signed up for. So I always like to give a little bit of context before we jump into the conversation. So BDPA is Black Data Processing Associates. The organization was founded in 1975 as a vehicle for building up the technology talent pipeline in the African American community. So we do that by focusing on developing computer programming skills, professional development skills overall, so soft and hard skills in our youth, especially middle and high school students. And then we also provide similar opportunities for those at the collegiate level and the professional level to continue developing their skills, expanding their networks, and positioning themselves to advance from the classroom to the boardroom. So that's our mantra. The Tech and Career Talks take place on the second and fourth Fridays of each month. We have a range of speakers speaking on different topics. Some are more technical focused, some are more hard skill focused. Some make you aware of different opportunities that you may not know of. So a wide range. We give you something that everyone can take value from, whether you're a student trying to figure out how to get into tech or you're a senior executive on the brink of retirement. Doesn't matter. You can get value from our conversations. You did hear me say 1975 a few moments ago. This is our 50-year anniversary for BDPA. Super big deal. We're super excited. We are gearing up for our 50-year anniversary Golden Conference. Our national conference will be in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm at the Westin Peachtree Plaza and the Men's Computer Museum. We're doing some crazy things this year. So make sure you go to conference.bdpa.org. And register for this year's BDPA National Conference and Career Fair. You do not want to miss it. I guarantee it. It's going to be amazing. So, hey, if you're on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, comment below, click that bell so you know when we post. Share this with somebody who needs to hear the message. And go to conference.bdpa.org so we can see you in Atlanta next month. All right, that's my spiel. That's what I have for you. I'm super excited for today's conversation. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Akil Bektemba, one of our conference co-chairs this year. You'll hear from him again in a couple of weeks, talking about BDPA Con and all that we can expect there. But for today, I'm going to give it to Akil to guide us through today's conversation.
Fantastic. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you guys for joining us. Again, just to reiterate what Devin just said about the BDPA conference, definitely come sign up. We're celebrating 50 years and it's going to be great. So we want to make sure that you're part of it. So today, though, we are super excited about presenting this this program and this pilot and this opportunity. Many of you know about the Job Corps program. Some of you may not. You should check it out if you don't. But if you do, you will know that we have successfully launched the Job Corps Information Technology Academy. It is a fully robust and important new pilot through the Job Corps, providing technical skills and technology in the IT areas to our young adults who are attending Job Corps. But before I get started, again, my name is Akil Bektemba. I'm the president and CEO of Vanguard Consulting Group. I am super excited to kick off this conversation with our special guests. We have workforce development and placement experts. We have coalition builders. We have trainers. We have educators. We have leaders. And then, we are the Net America Job Corps Information Technology Academy team, which includes myself with Vanguard Consulting Group and my team, with Craig Preston, who you see there, with Team Mindshift, and Dr. Joseph and Danielle from ICF, who will tell you her whole team because she has a much larger team than the rest of us. But we'll talk about each one of our aspects and how we are here to promote and tell you about this amazing opportunity for our young adults in the tech space. Before we get started, just a little bit of housekeeping. I want to, before we dive in our conversation, throughout today's discussion, we will field as many questions as we can and provide you with answers as much as time allows. So please, throughout, put your questions, comments in the chat feature. And then we also have some time if you like to chime in and definitely ask your questions live as we get to the end of this conversation. So let's get started, man. I'm excited. So let me make some introductions really quick. Actually, I kind of started doing that, but I want to go ahead and ask Craig Preston from Team Mindshift to say hello. And then Danielle, you can follow up and then we can jump into the conversation.
Hello, Craig Preston. I'm one of the co-founders of Team Mindshift, me and my business partner, Dr. Robert Joseph. Our story is we met long ago in a land far away, well, Cambridge, Massachusetts, at a place called MIT. We were both undergraduates there, and hence allegiance with Mr. Sam Nixon in the audience there. We are excited to be here. This is largely thanks to Akil that we are part of this program, part of this this project. So thank you. This is a wonderful opportunity. We're looking to introduce IT to Job Corps, even though we're a quarter of a century into the 21st century. It's, we go get a late pass, right? We're all right. We're gonna do it now. There you go.
All right. Thank you. Danielle, good morning.
Good morning, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
My name is Danielle Chiaraluce, and I'm a senior workforce consultant at ICF, which is a global consulting and technology services firm. We partner with government, business, and nonprofit clients with the hope of implementing impactful solutions. And I'm in the workforce solutions team, and one of the projects I'm excited to be on, in addition to supporting apprenticeship and training, is the Job Corps Information Technology Academy. And so I look forward to talking about our role in the program.
Right on. So just to give you guys some context, so we have been fortunate and excited to join the Net America team. Net America is a company out of Maryland who has been a historically, I'm just trying to say they have done an amazing job with government contracting in the workforce space throughout their history. They're about 20 plus years old, I think, at this point. And we were fortunate enough for them to gather this team together. And so we have provided a full kind of wraparound service as part of the Net America team here. As I said before, you have Vanguard Consulting Group. We have been functional in the recruitment side and support side and also SME side as far as Job Corps goes. We have Team Mindshift, who, as Craig said, with their acumen and their abilities, have created this amazing curriculum and instruction platform for our young adults here. And then we have ICF with Danielle and her team, who are wrapping it around and making sure that the placement side, the work-based learning side, the internship side, and those other areas are in place, so that once they finish the training that the students go through, that they're put in good hands with our partners, with our friends, with our colleagues, and within the industry. And so it's a great kind of team, great collaboration, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it. So as I kind of kick it off, there's I always like to kind of ask you guys like the one word question, right? So let me just ask, and whoever can go first can jump in here, but what's one word that captures the purpose of the Job Corps Information Technology Academy so far, and why are you calling out that one word?
I would say modernization. Job Corps, can I say why?
Yes,
Job
please.
Corps has been around for a while, and I'm sure it's the elephant in the room that there's a lot going on with the program. And why this is an exciting opportunity is that we're taking the career technical training that they've been so strong throughout the years to offer and modernize it into something that can lead to competitive pathways into various IT careers, which is so important, as I'm sure Craig can go on about for hours, and everyone in this room. And so modernization would be my word.
I love that. And Danielle, you and I have worked in Job Corps for a long time. And one of the things that we understand, especially on the placement side of things and workforce development side of things, is that it's really about the return on the investment, right? We know that Job Corps invests, a certain amount of money into providing these opportunities and housing and all of the great things that Job Corps provides to our students. But what comes after that, right? And what comes after that, and you've said this before, and I'll let you kind of expand on it if you'd like, but what comes after that is that they become part of the workforce. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. We can implement the strongest programming available, and, we hope and strive for that programming to be informed by the input of employers. And so we really took time to listen to what is it that they need, what are the credentials that are required, so that students can be ready and enter into competitive employment, with strong wages, jobs that lead to opportunities and growth, not just entry level and stagnant. And so we strive to identify employer partners who can offer work-based learning, as an internship, and then also a full-time opportunity in employment upon conclusion of their training. We're also trying to include registered apprenticeships, which is also an important endeavor. It's an earn while you learn model and leads to a long-term career path. A lot of loyalty for the employer that's supported an apprentice throughout their training and, has very good results. It's an often underutilized workforce strategy. And many in this room may know about apprenticeships, but that's something too. Job Corps is truly a pre-apprenticeship model. It's set up nicely to be a filter or a funnel pathway into those programs. So identifying throughout the regions of this pilot people who can offer opportunities for the students while they're training, and then the graduates as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Craig, what's your one word?
Thriving,
Okay.
because we are very student-centric. The goal is to prepare them to not only obtain a certification and get a job, but to thrive in their careers and lives through agency, awareness, and opportunity. That's what we seek to create at every level of the program.
That's right. That's right. So, we know that Job Corps Information Technology Academy is more than just training, right? You just mentioned it, both of you actually. It's actually transformational, right? So what makes this Job Corps Information Technology Academy effort different from traditional tech programs? And I'll direct that to Craig. He's our IT expert.
Sure. So this is aimed at Job Corps students, 16 to 24, for those who don't know. That's the program. It is no prior knowledge assumed. And from that to a solid grounding in the fundamentals of IT, hard and soft skills. This kind of echoes BDPA values. I took note of the the congruence, the alignment. Networking from classroom to boardroom, that is 100%. We're doing the classroom preparation piece. So hard skills, soft skills, wellness, we want them to be able to manage their lives. It's not just a career, it's about having a life in creating a way of life, a support for themselves and their families. Job Corps happens to be a rolling enrollment program. Students come in at any time. And so our program is a flipped classroom or flipped instruction program. The direct instruction takes place online. However, it takes place in a classroom with an experienced IT professional who are our instructors. We train them in the what I'll dare to call the team Mindshift way, fostering agency, problem solving, critical thinking, because we're looking to create successful IT professionals. And we need them to understand that when they go into the world, people are hiring them for their ability to solve problems. So it's
great. So,
go ahead, please.
no, I was just gonna kind of tap into that. As you guys designed this curriculum, you did, and as you know, you mentioned the Team 9 Mindshift way, which I think is part of why I was so excited about you guys joining this and knowing and being involved with Job Corps for so long, knowing kind of the need for that other support and that other kind of side of training our students to becoming full. So I wanted to ask real quick, as a lot of people don't know really that much about the Job Corps Information Technology Academy yet. And I definitely have some questions I want to ask you guys that kind of broadens the scope of how it impacts everything. But before we get in there, I would love for Craig to kind of just tell us about, let's dive into the curriculum a little bit. Let's talk about what they're getting. And then Danielle, I'm going to shift to you and we're going to talk about kind of what you are doing, even a little bit more specific on your side of kind of this collaborative effort. Craig, so tell us a little bit, let's dive a little bit into the program itself. I'll give you kind of a runway here. I'll bring you in. So as we said, Job Corps Information Technology Academy is a pilot. We have launched at 6 Job Corps centers, and we are supporting this effort there. In that launch, we are talking about in Albany, Georgia. We're talking about in Montgomery, Alabama. We're talking about in Memphis, Tennessee. We're talking about in 2 locations in Florida and in Mississippi. And so we're in the Atlanta region, and I want to just emphasize that because the support and actually the drive in the Atlanta region in the tech space is huge. And so we wanted to make sure that strategically we placed these academies throughout the Job Corps program in the Atlanta region, which I think has been really, really an important step. As students enter Job Corps regularly, so if you are a student or a student or a potential student wanting to go into Job Corps and interested in tech, you will locate one of these centers and you will go and you will contact their admissions counselors. You will get signed up for the program. You will go through the normal interest and enrollment stage, and then you'll get through CPP and get it right into the training. The training itself, I want Craig to have an opportunity to tell us. Craig, tell us what are they getting out of the training? Tell us a little bit about the certifications. Tell us a little bit about how are we preparing them to enter the IT world.
Got you. Do continue to give me guidance. I can get nerdy with it. So
it's all good.
Let me know. Right?
You got it.
So the program has 4 major components. One is kind of the onboarding, ready to learn, and a important fundamental building. Well, that's also what is this IT that you're signing up for? What are some of the roles and career paths possible to you? Let's have an overview, a flyover, if you will, of the terrain, industries, roles, etc. Let's help you to begin with the end in mind, so the students can have some idea of where they might be headed, because we think that connects directly to their motivation and engagement. We want to serve them and their ambitions and desires. That part also includes our enhanced learning module, which is the foundation of everything we do at Team Mindshift. It's part of why we are Team Mindshift. We help people with any obstacles that they might have in their own minds, the kind of negative self-talk that people have about, technology is hard, I'm not good at math, all that kind of stuff, and replace that with something that's more useful to them. Like, oh yeah, I'm a beginner, and so I'm learning, but I'm getting better at it every day. Those kinds of messages. We also talk to them a little bit about mental models and how those things can be transferable to other ways. So we try to give them some ability, a platform that'll help them to become better learners, because that will help them throughout life. And if they're choosing a career in IT, they've just chosen to become a lifelong learner, because we know for sure that it's going to be different next year. The second part of our program is the fundamentals of IT, or the elements of IT as we call them. And that's just the stuff we all, software, hardware, networking, data and databases, risk and security. And that's because they need a grounding to understand what they're getting into, to be able to understand fundamentally. We come from a place whose motto is mind in hand, mens and manus. We want them to have a conceptual understanding. They need to understand the why, not just the what's. In other words, you're trying to teach them how to cook, not just follow recipes. And they need to know real world applications. We have exercises that are drawn from the real world. We try to give them the opportunity to choose from among different options so that they have some personalization, some ability to choose to make it relevant to them. So that's a part of it. We're fostering agency and engagement throughout. The third component is they select one of 3 industries recognized certifications. They are the CompTIA Data Plus for data analytics, CompTIA Data Sys Plus for database administration, and the ISC2 certified in cybersecurity. So those are the 3 pathways. We support them in preparing for and passing those certification exams and obtaining a certification. And then the 4th component, and a vital component, is ready to work. These are students who don't necessarily come from backgrounds where they have a lot of exposure to of just what is expected in a professional workplace. So we begin with that. Situational awareness. It's irresponsible to drop them behind enemy lines without that. So we do that. We help them to understand how to go about getting a job. Think about it from the perspective of the employer that's looking for talent. So how do you present yourself in that marketplace? And finally, that thriving again. Our last module is thriving in the tech workplace. And that's all about networking so that you understand the unwritten rules of the culture that you're in. And you understand that you are in command of your career and you need to manage it, and you seek the support and help you need along the way. So that is our program. I'm going to stop there and see if there's any questions.
Definitely put your questions in the comments, and we'll definitely have a chance to tap back in. But I wanted to ask Danielle. I want to kind of keep this thing wrapped around the program, and I want to ask Danielle. Danielle, this is a Craig talked about it being, without saying the words, this is a flipped instruction model, and the value of that, and the fact that it also is a global classroom. There are programs within it, like Plugged In, which I'm sure Craig will talk a little bit more about. But it is a global classroom and provides this type of environment for our students. Can you tell me how that resonates on the placement side and how that prepares students to be in the workforce by experiencing this kind of programming and that kind of training where they are bringing in folks via Zoom and bringing in folks via other avenues to speak to the students that are IT professionals and experts across the board?
Sure. From a training perspective, I find, first I'll define the plugged in that Craig will likely speak about a bit more, but it's very unique in that since there's a pilot and there are other centers in that pilot, they're able to connect virtually to hear different speakers and talk through different topics and see their teammates and the other pilots. And, having worked on campus at the Job Corps centers, very rarely was that level of interaction able to take place outside of working with people who were in your trade. Sometimes there were different community projects, or if the centers were in close proximity, they would have shared activities or evening. But I really find that sense of connection is building teamwork and strong skills too, because, working remotely, we've gotten used to it, but it's something that is a skill in and of itself. How to work with a team, how to build a relationship virtually, how to network, how to interview virtually. All of those things are such in-demand skills for the IT occupations. Many of them do not take place in a brick and mortar location. And when they do, you're still interfacing with customers and clients virtually a lot of the time. So it builds customer service for sure. We try to take it's sort of a very nice holistic approach where you have the training partner, you have Vanguard, you're helping to connect students and staff to the program, and then ICF will come in, and we're really trying to identify, again, those work-based learning opportunities, or during that phase of their career, it's their career transition readiness, because we want to take that feedback from their internship and share that with them, and share that with the teachers and say, this is what worked, this is what didn't, but in a very strength-based way. We want to take that approach. And by offering hands-on learning, you're also allowing the students to do informed choice. Is this the career path for me? You're saying it's cybersecurity, but are there other career adjacent positions that I might be interested in? And really, going to an employer and saying, we would like you to offer an internship. It requires ICF and the team that I have to break down their internship posting, and then in the future, their job posting, and say, this is what this student learned. Okay, they're on module 7. So at module 7, they should be able to, I don't know, analyze data using a database. So this is on your internship description, and sort of comparing those two to say, let's give this person an opportunity. So it's a liaison, if you will, between the employer and the student and the training and the center, and making sure that everyone is ready. And in addition, there's those wraparound supports that we've tried to identify as well, because there are going to be barriers to success, and we want to identify what those are as soon as possible, whether it's housing, or in some rural locations, it might even just simply be opportunity. So where are the opportunities? What does labor market say? Is there a remote or hybrid opportunity for people who might not have so many companies in their home location? Or maybe it's college or the military. So it's just sort of walking through those different trajectories.
That's perfect, and I appreciate that. And actually, that's a great segue into my next question for Craig. Craig, the curriculum spans from cybersecurity, as you mentioned, data analytics, and cloud-based administration. What real-world problems, and this feeds right into what Danielle was saying, what real-world problems are students being trained to solve in these tracks?
Okay. As I said, we build in real-world exercises and using AI tools along the way, by the way, because it's the 21st century in 2025, and clearly they need to know how to do work with AI to do their roles as assistants. So we provide that as well. And the role in case of cybersecurity, everything from doing audits, like where are we, where are vulnerabilities? There's actually a lot of user support. Like, hey, I have this problem, and user education. Don't click on that link. That's a bad idea. That all of that, because those are actually the soft targets in many organizations, are the people. But under the understanding of networking helps them to understand what points of vulnerability are, the understanding of data and databases. By the way, that is module 7, by the way, you nailed it. To understand the threats like SQL injection, for instance, to understand where the threats may be and how to inform and defend against them. In the case of data analytics, that may involve everything from the gathering and preparation of data for analysis, and then that analysis looking for insights, seeking to support business needs. There's a huge demand for people who can kind of straddle understanding what's good, what businesses, what's useful, and what the technology can do. And so understanding the technology and working into that, it's usually a little more senior role to be able to go, well, here's what would be useful to our business. But part of our preparation is understanding what your business does, what's the value chain, how they make money, and where you fit in that process. Are you a support role? Are you a key in the value chain itself? And therefore, how do I navigate in this company? What do they value? Where did the management come from within this company? That's part of the thriving in the workplace piece. Little bit of a digression. And then the database administration, database management, there's so much data nowadays, and companies are, and data is what feeds AI. And so learning to manage that data is a role that is very much in demand. And this is everything from SQL databases to non-SQL stuff, just managing everything. And so we have them, again, the approach is to try to give them a variety of projects to work on. By the way, students present every 2 weeks what they've been working on. And we organize their learning in 2-week sprints. So the idea is to introduce them to agile methodology. And there is a discussion group, a discussion board, a Discord, where students from all of the Job Corps centers can interact with instructors and ask questions. We have a full-time TA that monitors the Discord and helps them to answer questions. So they never need to stay stuck at any moment. And the flipped instruction that Akil mentioned, the initial learning, as I said, takes place online, but it takes place in a classroom with access to an instructor. All of our instructors are IT professionals.
Mm-hmm. No, that's perfect. So I am interested in answering, and you guys answering this question too. What I'm thinking, or what I'm wondering, is that, and we're in this together, obviously, with Net America, and so when we think about the potential indicators, right, that or signs that we're making a difference, or that we're seeing success. What in your estimations, as far as for each of your roles in this kind of collaborative effort, what does success look like, and what are some of the things that we are doing to make sure that we're reaching that success? And I can start out by just saying, success from the recruitment standpoint, obviously, is that we fill these classrooms, and that the community is aware of this program, hence this opportunity with BDPA today. That the community is aware that this opportunity is available, that the students are welcomed, that IT is on the map for Job Corps, and that we're moving in that direction. So, that's one of the things I'm focused on, that I see as far as our perspective. But as you guys think about your own roles, what does success look like with the Job Corps Information Technology Academy, from the instructional phase, and then also definitely into the placement, transition, and support phase? Either one of you guys can go first.
Sure. Well, if I could, Akil, Samuel has placed into the chat an interesting question that sort of ties to my answer. His question, I don't know if you want to read it out loud. You want me to? Sure. It says, as one involved in training adults and youth in STEM-related areas who haven't had a healthy environment, maybe formerly incarcerated, currently incarcerated, veterans, etc. What have you found to be the most challenging aspects of and barriers to helping to change the mindsets of those who have great potential and are gifted with very good minds to get them on the path of confidence in themselves? And what support resources have you found most effective in doing the transformational moments in their lives? There's others too, but that would be my answer for success, because I find that the most difficult mindsets to shift are those who are often tied to fear of failure, or the belief, even in taking it to this program, that success in tech is reserved for those who are more privileged or from traditional backgrounds. So I think that it would be very exciting to see individuals complete this program and launch a career in an opportunity that they didn't otherwise ever see for themselves. So for me, of course, that would be the best outcome. The transformational supports that I think that help that to happen is that the program embeds peer and mentor coaching, from those discussions we talked about, and the curriculum Craig mentioned, the holistic support. The incremental success scaffolding is sort of what I think about it. Here they are entering into a program that makes them nervous, maybe unsure, but we're building in that mentor, we're building in that someone that says, I believe in you. And we're also validating it with micro credentials at first, and it just keeps getting larger and larger. That's what our role is. It's to build in enough of those moments where you say, I believe in you, to the point where they then believe in themselves as well. And then additionally, to further answer your question, Akil, the wraparound supports that provide stability that we can identify in their location, because just because they're living at Job Corps doesn't mean they'll live there always or even near there. So or maybe they came to Job Corps because they don't want to return back to their home. So what is needed? What are those wraparound supports? And then the real world exposure, whether it's the virtual exposure or the work-based learning, the jobs, the events, the networking opportunities. Those are things that help to demystify people's perceptions of themselves and build familiarity so that they can then advance and grow into their careers and themselves. And that's what's most important.
Cool. Craig?
Okay, so success. I'm not surprised at the richness of Brother Nixon's questions, by the way. I've been on the receiving ends of his prose before, dead on. One way that we try to address that is, by addressing it directly. We invite people to call out what is their self-talk, what is going on in their heads. And we try to help them to understand that while talent is evenly distributed, opportunity often is not. And that they are sometimes, what they're seeing is a result of systems that are much larger than themselves. And so we try to connect to what it is that truly motivates them. What is their intrinsic motivation? And then we try to support that with all the extrinsic things we do. You mentioned plugged in IT conversations. We bring in professionals virtually to talk to them about all they've done. And this includes, we had the head of global learning from Warner Brothers Discovery. We had a software engineer at Meta for one of those. A cybersecurity manager at Microsoft. And we alternate that with our own IT Academy instructors, because they've also had remarkable careers and they can relate to how they found their way. And which the common thread is that almost nobody went in a straight line. It's always
Right.
a pathway of choosing from options that were available. And students often don't know that. I think they're supposed to know what they need to do. And it's perfectly fine to explore. And we encourage that. We foster agency, an agency in their learning process. We want to connect to what's relevant to them, within a range of choices. It's not,
Right.
wow, like one of the assignments is when we do programming is, okay, now build a website, subject of your choice, whatever you want, right? Which gives them practical acknowledgement. We do the 2-week presentations. So what have you done? What have you learned? Or is there just something you want to talk about? So they get accustomed to professional communication and learning to do that well. We do build in stuff like, badges and certificates along the way so that they are able to achieve things. And we encourage them to build out their LinkedIn profile and to post assignments that they've done. Like, talk about your website so that when they go to look for a job, they have a portfolio to show to hiring managers.
Very cool. I want to make sure that for the audience that we are really explaining the program. And I think Danielle referencing module 7, and you referencing plugged in, and we're talking about these different things. I will say one thing. One, it's not it's intended. It was strategic and intentional that Net America put this group together, and those who are listening can hear why. But I also will say that it's intentional also and strategic, that knowing that Atlanta and the Atlanta region is home to innovation and now kind of the next generation tech talent. And the fact that we're weaving aspects of tech culture and tech success into this academy, I really would love for you to break down even a little bit more detailed on, and you kind of started doing this already when you talked about the module. So as they enter into the academy, and you talked about kind of the 4 components of what the programming is, can you talk a little bit more about the actual modules? And so let's talk about, you know, in module 1, this is what they're going to be learning, module 2, and kind of go through that so that we make it very clear for our audience, you know, what our students are learning.
Okay. I was thinking it was going to avoid that kind of deep dive, but since you asked. So 12 modules. The first one is really just on IT Academy onboarding. Here's the tools we're going to be using. Here's what this is all about. Here is the skill set. Here's the kind of skill sets that people look for in IT. We do that, and there's the first 2 are pretty short actually. And then there's a technical overview. Here are some of the ranges of possibilities that in the IT field. Here's some things you could consider, and what might you want to consider as a technology career or role. This preliminary answer, not going to hold you to it. You can change your mind as you learn more, because of course that's what you do. But what's your thought? So that we have some idea of what is it they, begin with the end in mind. Where might you want to head? We find that motivating and helps to make it a little more concrete. And then the third module is our Enhanced Learning Masterclass, where we deal with self-talk and emotion. What is learning, conceptual learning? What do we mean by that? Sometimes we say, the old saying, give a person a fish they eat for a day, teach them how to fish they eat for a lifetime. We go, well, what if you teach them to learn how to fish and anything else that they need to learn? Now you're changing the world. That's what we're aiming at. And that is what we talk about, learning to learn how to learn. And then the power of generalization. And so beginning to a little bit of metacognition about how do you think about the learning process in order to begin to give them power over their own learning process. That's the opening component, ready to learn. Then there's 5 modules on the elements of IT. I borrowed that from the elements of cooking. It's the elements of IT, by which I mean software, hardware, networking, data, databases, risk and security. So that gives them their grounding and support. And at that point, they choose one of the 3 certification tracks: data analytics, database administration, cybersecurity. After they've done that, comes the ready for work module or component. And that has 3 modules: workplace readiness, that situational awareness for being in the workplace, getting hired for a great job or internship, how to present yourself in the job market, building that portfolio all throughout the program, and LinkedIn is a key component, connecting with people. Many of our guests in IT and Plugged In have consented to say, yeah, connect with me on LinkedIn. And so our students are doing that. And then finally, thriving in the workplace. And, networking is a key there, obviously.
That's right. And then I think, you mentioned at one point that there's also a little bit of a little hardware. There's a component where there's some hardware And I know that you know what we found in conversations with students who are actively in the academy is that's also an interest for them. Can you talk a little bit about what they're doing in that space? I know I've heard things, and I'm gonna pretend like I know what a Raspberry Pi is, but there are, you know, there are tools and there are pieces that they'll also get to experience in addition to the other pieces that you just mentioned that relate to hardware. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So this is actually a good example of the notion of generalization and abstraction layers,
Mhm.
because the name of the module is actually hardware abstraction layers and computing execution environments.
Perfect.
Because in IT, that's essentially what we're doing, especially nowadays with enterprise software deployment. That's almost all in the clouds, or in the cloud. And very rarely anymore do people have on-premise servers with hardware you can actually touch, right? Go into the server room and pull it out and take a look at it. But we do want to give them exposure to that. Raspberry Pis or kits that are actual working computers, and we
Oh,
allow them to, you know, little board, and allow them to load up an operating system on that and build a couple projects, connect to LEDs and other kinds of external things, and have them control that kind of thing. And so
very
it
cool.
gives you a little bit of the hands-on exposure. That is more of a specialty nowadays, actually, putting hands on computers and data centers, though there is a role for that. More people are actually supporting deployment of resources, software applications, and the like
Hmm.
in the cloud, and we teach them how to do that. So abstraction layers, meaning virtual machines or containers and those kinds of things. If you know, this is probably going way too deep at this point, I'm going to stop.
No, no, that's no, I really, and I think that was, you know, that's a perfect example of why this program is important for Job Corps. I think, you know, with the kind of holistic view and the wraparound services that Danielle talks about, the agency and these other components that you talk about, students will gather, but they're really getting the hardcore technical piece, and I think that people need to see that when we're talking about the Job Corps Information Technology Academy. The program fits perfectly within the Job Corps structure because Job Corps is about that kind of holistic support. You know, obviously, when you enter Job Corps through the admissions process, you are already kind of being fostered into, you know, a career readiness mindset and getting ready for this. You enter Job Corps and go into the career preparation phase, which you are, you know, getting into that groove and into that mode, and then you jump into career technical training, which is what the Job Corps Information Technology Academy is. And so so it all really is, it wraps together perfectly. But I want, you know, folks to really understand, and especially since BDPA is a tech organization and there are tech people on here, I don't think that you could nerd out too much. I think you are right in the zone, and I think that it's important for folks to know that this is, you know, it's a holistic program. We're thinking about the whole student, but they're getting some real technical training where they are going to be able to leave this program with these certifications and actually get to work. So I think that's really important. We're going to wrap up pretty soon here, but I want to ask you guys a couple fun questions. If you could wave a magic wand, if you could wave a magic wand and add one new feature, a partner, or a resource to the JCITA ecosystem, what would that be?
Well, for me, you know, and the students and the success of the program, I'm very focused on employer relationships. So I think, though, it's not just you know, a placement. I really would like an employer that would be interested in starting someone off with an internship, allowing us an opportunity to get the feedback from how that went so that they could return back to training, and then, you know, consider them again for additional work to hire. So whether it's an internship to hire or hire them directly, that would be a pipeline type of employer that would be ideal. And it might need to be one that even could have a regional focus so that they could hire more people than just one at a time. So that would be ideal. Sure, that's my magic
I
wand.
I love that, and actually, my magic wand is similar to your magic wand in that, and I think about it in the context of, especially, this being BDPA and BDPA's connection to the industry, and then those who are listening. It would be amazing that we created a pipeline, that we connected Danielle and her team to some folks that said, "Hey, you know what? We'll take all of your students that have the cybersecurity uh,
Mhm.
certification. We'll take all of your students that have the data analytics certification. We'll take all your students that have the database administration certification, and we will create this, this pipeline, this program." So, the one, grabbing one here and there is fantastic, and we want that. Don't get me wrong, but we definitely would love to create a collaborative effort, and within the industry. And Craig, you can probably talk to this, but in the industry, tech is a community as well. So, although they may be competitors on the stage, they still, know people that work with other companies, and maybe it's a couple companies that say, "Hey, you know what? We're going to combine and start a program that, that will work with the Job Corps Information Technology Academy to provide these opportunities." So, I'm just extending your magic wand a
Yeah,
little bit
sure.
to
No
include
problem.
those
Sprinkle,
other,
sprinkle.
yeah, those
I
other
want to say
ideas.
that
Go
part.
ahead, Craig. Yes,
That part. And what you said in a BDPA Tech and Career Talk, oh, yes, there was a
yes,
G, right? 100.
exactly.
And only part I would add to that is, if there were, get out your pixie dust and your magic wand and poof, and these employers come forth, if they have particular interests or goals that they would like to see, or things that they would like to see, we would be
Mhm.
happy to adapt the curriculum to support their needs, if they
100%.
specify them to us, if they're taking them on. So it can
Yeah.
be a mutually supportive ecosystem.
And that's the purpose, right? And that's the purpose. That's the purpose of Job Corps as a whole, but it's also definitely the purpose of this program. I know, Devin, we are coming to the end, and we'll wrap up. But I want to definitely, I want to thank Craig and Danielle for your expertise, your time, and energy to this call, and to this, this session here. I will say that I do have a call to action real quick before Devin closes us out. I will say this: the future of tech runs through the Job Corps Information Technology Academy, and the talent that we have already seen with our students, the capabilities and the excitement around tech is tremendous. So, to the students ready to bet on themselves, to the employers looking for skilled, certified, and committed tech talent, to the partners and community leaders who believe in second chances, fresh starts, and equitable access, now is the time. Now's the time to call us, touch base with us, do all the things to gather and touch with us, touch points with us. You can get our information through BDPA. You can get our information through our websites, and I think that Danielle can put her email up there. Craig can put his email up there on the chat. But I will say that Job Corps Information Technology Academy is not just a program; it's a movement. It's a blueprint for building tech future, and starting right here in the Atlanta region. There's no mistake that we chose the Atlanta region to make this happen. Our goal is 300 plus more students to join this program and get involved. And our goal also is for that many or more employers and experts to be involved. Craig talked about the Plugged In series, and the fact that we bring in these, experts into the classroom virtually to talk to our students, give these insights, do all of these really great things. And so we're looking for more of you to do that as well. So please contact us if you just want to tap in and say, "Hey, let me talk to some students and let them know that this is coming, down the pipe, or this is what this part of the industry looks like, and these are my changes, these are my ideas." So that means, students, step into your greatness, sign up, level up, and claim your seat at the tech table. This training is no cost, high quality, and tailored just for you. For employers, don't just talk equity, let's get to it. Open your doors for internships, work-based learning opportunities, and full-time roles, as Danielle mentioned, right? We don't want to leave that out. Community influencers and partners, be the bridge. Please be the bridge. Use your platforms to connect talent with the opportunity, spread the word, sponsor a student, host an information session, invest in the legacy of change that we're pushing here. The fact is, the future is digital, the talent is local and in your areas and in your regions. And the tech industry needs our voices and our ideas and our leadership. And at that, I will pass it back to Devin, and we can close out the session. Thank you guys for joining us today.
Thank you, Akil.
Thanks, Akil.
Yes.
Thanks.
Akil, Danielle, Craig, thank you for an amazing conversation today on a topic that we all need to be aware of and tapping into how we support it, how we spread the word, make sure that we continue to provide opportunities for people to break into the technology industry and get into these lucrative careers that are world changing, that are the cornerstone of society and survival, really, at this point. I believe technology is just as important as water, air, and food at this point in the world. So we need to make sure it's accessible to everyone. So thank you for the work you're doing to make that our reality. And thank you all for listening. Again, if you're on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, comment below, share this with someone who needs to hear this message, because we thank you for watching this, and you know it's a message that needs to be heard. So, hey, BDPA Con 25 going down August 13th through the 16th.
Be
the
there.
Western Peachtree Plaza in Atlanta, Georgia. Conference.bdpa.org. Go register right now. Do it today, so you don't forget about it. And we'll see you in a few weeks at the conference. Make sure you're on our next Tech and Career Talk in about 2 weeks. We will have Akil, one of our conference co-chairs, along with our other co-chair, Judy Lane, talking about everything you need to expect at BDPA Con 25. So you have questions, you have comments, you have concerns, join the next Tech and Career Talk. We're going to get into all of that. So we'll see you there. Akil, did you want to say something else before we close?
No, I was just gonna put an extra 2 on the 10 and say, be at this conference. This conference is going to be fantastic. It's the 50th anniversary. And those of you who are, tech-minded and have not been to the MIMS Computer Museum, I was blown away when I went and visited during our walkthrough. So it's going to be a very, very exciting and enjoyable experience all the way around. And, when we talk about access, BDPA is based in providing that access, especially to the young adults and the youth. And so very excited to be part of that. And yes, August 13th through the 16th, be there, bdpa.org. Conference at BDPA. Say it one more time.
Yep, conference.bdpa.org.
There you go. Don't want to get it messed up. Thank you so much.
All right, everyone.
All right.
We'll see you next time. Stay safe. Stay blessed.
All right, you techie types.
Thanks, Mr. Nixon.
All right,
Bye,
blessings.
right?